Hi, Joel, tuning in from beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan on a beautiful sunshiny day. Hope you are enjoying your summer, enjoying spring, or if it is the depths of winter that you're watching this, hope you're enjoying that too. Today I want to talk about happiness, the lack of happiness, how to be happy, how to stop being happy, how to accept your situation, how to change your situation. So, concept of being happy, of I want to be happy, of what do I do to be happy, I think it's changed throughout different generations. I know for my generation, I was born in 91, I'm 34 years old. For millennials, there was something of a backlash against, I think, the previous generation, not Gen X really, but the boomers, who, for a lot of them, the main things that they pursued in life were money, right? And materialism to some degree. And I think that was coming off the back of their parents, who a lot of them faced really horrible scarcity with, the Great Depression, the war. And so coming off of that, being able to take advantage of America's great booming economic opportunities, and also, maybe fleeing something that their parents had known, which is just abject, horrible poverty, made a lot of sense, right? So for boomers, career, certain social achievements like getting a house, having a family, certain of these milestones where you can kind of check boxes and say, I achieved this, and a lot of that is focused on career and money. The millennials, to a large degree, kind of started to reject this idea and say, hey, well, what if you're miserable that whole time, right? Are there not more important things in life? Perhaps something like being happy. And for, I think, a lot of millennials, they maybe got a little bit too deep into this idea of chasing happiness as a necessity in your life. All I want is to be happy. That's what matters. That's the number one value in life, is you being happy. And for Gen Z, I think it's very hard to know how their ideas have overall shifted. What do they value? How has that changed and why? I don't really have an answer for this. I've looked up some kind of survey data. What I can tell you is that a lot of Gen Z are not happy. About half, you look at survey data, about half say that they're somewhat happy and above, which is pretty good. I hope that's a lot of you. I hope you're somewhat happy or above, but plenty are just absolutely miserable. You especially see that in depression and anxiety statistics, higher than any other generation ever measured. And some other things, like perhaps at this point for a lot of young Gen Z people, just economic opportunities. If the job market is tough, if it's just difficult out there surviving, finding your place in the world, that sort of lack of meaning can make people somewhat unhappy. So the question is, should you value happiness? What does it mean exactly if you're happy or unhappy? And is it something that you should pursue? So I always think, when this topic comes up, I always think of money. People, just by analogy, like, how do you find money? How do you chase money? So you tell, let's say, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, you say, okay, you've got a goal. You're going to go find some money. You're going to go make some money. What is that 2 or 3-year-old going to do? Are they going to think about their professional appearance, their professional speech, their network, think about going to networking events, polishing up their resume, this whole constellation of things that is necessary in our modern world to make money, especially related to jobs? Are they going to think about drop shipping? No. The 2 or 3-year-old is going to, at best, look behind the couch for some change, or look beneath the seat cushions on the couch for some change. Maybe they're going to try to find a wallet. Maybe they're going to ask mom or dad, can I have $1? That's the best you're going to do for a 2 or 3-year-old who their goal is to go find money. It's going to be kind of sort of mediated through adults. They're going to look very directly for the money, very directly. Now, as an adult, that's kind of absurd, right? You tell an 18-year-old, look, you got to go out in the world and make some money. And they start, digging up holes in the yard to try to find money. We know that's absurd. That's insane behavior, right? Because we have sort of higher level skills of thinking, sort of more meta level skills of thinking about money is the result of you offering value in the market, to you upskilling yourself, to you presenting and marketing those values in the right way. Things like resumes, CVs, networking, etc. Business skills, advertising, whatever. So The issue I see for a good amount of people, though, is that they are also pursuing happiness in quite the same way. They're trying to directly pursue happiness. And that could be through, some kind of new age techniques, which certainly do have their place. Something like mantras or affirmations, I am happy. My life is good. I am full of abundance. Mindset absolutely matters. And I'm not saying it doesn't. And mantras are a great technique to develop certain positive thought patterns, which is very positive. But clearly, if you have a bad life, no amount of mantras is going to make your life good, right? It's not going to change the fundamental situation of your life, right? Other ways you might pursue happiness is, you might just feel guilty about it all the time, right? You might just wake up in the morning, think like, why am I doing this? I'm just scrolling TikTok all day. I'm watching Netflix. I'm eating ice cream all day, smoking weed all day. Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I just do the right things and be happy? So that kind of feeling of guilt, as a response to not being happy, rather than taking an adult perspective, not a 2 or 3-year-old perspective on happiness, but an adult perspective on happiness, which would be happiness, very much like money, is the side effect of different things in your life being right. What are those things? What are those things that you can directly pursue in order to find yourself in a situation where I'm happy, right? You wake up one morning and all of your ducks are in a row, so to speak, and you're happy. Big one is connections, right? Relationships with other people. This is what makes people happy, fulfilled, connected. So this is something you can pursue somewhat directly, right? A lot of the positive relationships of socializing you actually get from strangers. So that dumb kind of like Midwestern small talk in line at the grocery store, it makes you feel good, right? It can actually make you feel good, right? Talking to people at the park, petting people's dogs. It's just this little thing, these little pieces of connection, which are, not the kind of deep connections we really need for sustained meaning in life, certainly, but they're a hell of a lot better than TikTok. So do that. Talk to strangers. It's cool. It's fun. Obviously, going to people in your life that you love and care about, if you have them, if you're so lucky to have people you love and care about, that you actually enjoy talking to, enjoy hanging out with, clearly this is a good thing and a thing to prioritize, right? Your social connections in life, if you value being happy, are the things that you should be prioritizing, perhaps above other things. So maybe you don't, because you're sad and depressed and anxious, you don't feel like reaching out to people and socializing with them. This is maybe something even it's worth pushing past, right? Not sinking down into the feelings of depression and anxiety and choosing cheap dopamine hits like TikTok, like ice cream, like beer, but instead going after people directly as a way to be connected and find meaning. What else? Health. It's said that a man has 1,000 problems, and then he's sick, and then he has one problem, right? You're living your life. Maybe you're thinking about your relationships, your future, blah, blah, blah. You break your leg. Now you have one problem. Your leg is in 2 pieces. It should be in 1 piece. That is your only problem. You don't care about anything else. You're not thinking about job applications. You're not thinking about your planned walk with your girlfriend in the park. You're thinking about your leg. It's in 2 pieces. That's your problem. Same thing, obviously, with depression and anxiety. Maybe also things that, to go another level deeper, that also are the result of your life situation being bad, having a bad setup in life. These are things that influence your day-to-day positive affect. It makes you just feel bad every day, which is a big part of not being happy. So your health, mental and physical, connections with people, your actual life situation about your profession, about your money, being secure, not being secure, having anxiety about money. If you're working 12-hour shifts at McDonald's, making minimum wage, your issue is probably not, the reason you're not happy, right, is probably not because you're ungrateful. It's probably because your life situation kind of sucks. You hate what you do with your day. Maybe you hate your coworkers. You're spending way too long on it. You don't have time to think about things like connections and your health, right? So this is something to actually get in order. The byproduct of that will be being more happy. So do not chase happiness directly, but work directly on the pillars of happiness. One day you can wake up and the side effect will be, hey, I'm happy. Be happy.